Hello. The King James Bible University, KJBU, is a place of learning dedicated solely to what thus said the Lord our God. The KJBU is not connected to, affiliated with, nor associated with any Christian camp, denomination, or external organization. We stand exclusively on the 1611 King James Bible with the Apocrypha, and all teachings, whether from elders, deacons, or brethren, are grounded strictly in the instructions and truth found within the text alone. Our focus remains on rightly dividing the word of truth as it is written, without addition, subtraction, or outside influence. So, Shalom, which is where this is actually going to be beginning, talking about Shalom, which is peace, tranquility, harmony, focusing around quietness, which is Shalom. We use it as a greeting all the time. But for this, it's a question. Are we at Shalom with Jehovah? And I had to figure out how to get to that point, because for a while I thought I was, until I realized that I wasn't. I was in my own way. And this is actually the prequel to something that's already gone out. So let's get into it. This lesson is to warn anyone that is or considering taking the hard road against Jehovah. And as a watchman, it is the obligation, not simply out of necessity, because I actually care. Though it may not always seem like it. And starting off at Ezekiel 3:17. Uh-oh. I already got the wheel. But it's going to be Ezekiel 3, starting at 17. And the wheel is still going. Okay. Alright. Okay. So, here we go. Ezekiel 3:17. Just bring this up a little bit. And it reads, Son of man, servant of man, I have made thee a watchman, a guard, unto the house of Israel, servants of Jehovah. Clarification. Therefore, for that reason, hear, obey the word, message, instruction, word, instruction, at my mouth. Mouth is the message, which also tie it to the lips. And give them warning from me, Jehovah, from my Father. Verse 18. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, complete thought, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, complete thought, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity. But his blood lifestyle will I require at thine hand. So there's the mandate. If I don't do it, I'm on the hook for what you doing. However, verse 19, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, that sin, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity. Complete thought. But thou, who, the watchman, the servant of Jehovah, hast delivered thy soul. And there is from Jehovah. The other part is from me. So I actually care. Mark 6:11. Got that well again. It'll load here in a moment. Probably help if I close that. Okay. So, Mark 6. There we go. Alright, so Mark 6:11. And it reads, and whosoever shall not receive you, who, the watchman, nor hear you, when you depart thence from that house, that individual, shake off the dust under your feet for your testimony against them. Verily I say unto you, the watchman, nope, got that wrong. Verily I say unto you, those that didn't receive, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. So, excuse me, I got that part incorrect. That was referring to those in wickedness. It's better for Sodom and those in Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city, individual, nation, house. Because at this point, the watchman has come to them and they are receiving the truth from our Father, and they're shrugging it off or can't get out of their own way like I was. And this came from really the mental game that being passed through the fire brings, which a lot have gone through. And what I mean, being surrounded by the confusion and seeing what the world and those in it are willing to hold to as truth, despite witnessing genuine truth from seeing, hearing, touching, and sensing directly from God's instructions, they prefer to rationalize within themselves what truth is and becomes verified in our own mind, because it was there for me for a time when seeing a large following of a broad path rather than excuse me, rather than verifying what's been passed down from the what I call generational telephone game that our grandparents passed down to our parents, which was passed down to us. You know what I mean? In the telephone game, it starts at one end, pass on down the same whispered line. Not verified, by the way, but it's never the same when it makes it to the end of the line. Now, think of that over generations. Today, it's us, and we left those in the truth and are holding to it. And now, we arrived at different ages, but look at Abraham when it hit him. It hit him, the truth. And I'm pretty sure he was like, hey, y'all some heathens, and I'm out of here. It probably said something more like, ye be heathens, and I'm out. I'm departing. Yeah, I don't know how they spoke at the time, but I imagine it was something like that. And he was every bit of 75. And to prove the point, yeah, word came down to him. Genesis 12. Yeah, here we go. The Lord talking to Abraham right here. Now the Lord had said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, that nation of people, unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless, give wisdom and knowledge thee, and make thy name way great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Now, what if Abraham was in the same boat that I was in, thinking, oh, I can't do this, I'm not ready, I don't know this, I don't know that. That way, the telephone game way would have continued on. We wouldn't, there would be no truth. It would have been buried. But he hearkened, and which is the same that we are to do to prove the point. Deuteronomy 5. Uh-oh, we got the wheel again. So, Deuteronomy 5, this way. 33. Here's what we are to do. Deuteronomy 5:33. Ye shall walk in all the ways which the Lord our God, the Prince of Peace, hath commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which you shall possess. And here, all those ways includes having that daily armor, obeying, and as I learned coming into this walk, doing what I'm doing right now, opening my mouth for the Lord to impart whatever wisdom I have. And I truly believe I only have one talent, and that's seeing what I see. Everybody has that talent. Everybody. Getting out of our own way. Well, for me, getting out of my own way was the issue. But I know, had I not, it would have been much worse for me later on. Because I was definitely getting pricked. And leading up to that, where is that? I'm trying to think about Jeremiah. Heading over to Jeremiah 6. Leading up to it, it just kept coming to mind. What am I supposed to do? And this instruction came to mind. Well, this response. To whom shall I speak and give warning? I knew the answer, but it was in my own way. continuing, that they may hear, hearken, obey. Behold, remember, their ear is uncircumcised, and being uncircumcised, going back to what Abraham said to his people before he departed, heathen, carnal, unbeliever, abominable. This is what uncircumcised ties to. Continuing, and they cannot hearken. That was me, not hearkening. Saw every sign and wonder, still was like, I'm not ready. Continuing, behold, the word of the Lord is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it. That part I felt didn't apply because I thoroughly enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy the thought of having to open my mouth for everybody. Yeah, I can say now I was definitely being selfish. Allowing my flesh to win. Thinking literally only about me. Despite what I agreed to. Verse 9. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall thoroughly glean the remnant of Israel, the servants of JEHOVAH, as compared as a vine, a path. Complete clarification. Turn back thine hand, turn back your power as a grape gatherer into the baskets. I was a grape gatherer, just eating grapes. Yeah, naturally I was supposed to learn, but at a certain point, when you measure up and you check and see, oh, I got enough to do this or that, but still don't do it. Yep, eating grapes. It was verified. Verse 8. Be thou instructed, O Jerusalem, lest in case my soul, whose? The Lord's, depart from thee. Complete thought. Lest I make thee desolate, a land not inhabited. That's what I didn't want. Did not want it. Because, like everybody in the line of that generational telephone game, I knew what the expected end was. And as soon as I can get my wits about me, I can go through it. Where is Ezekiel? I was there. Oh, there we go. Okay. I know somewhere around there. All right, 21. Is that Will coming back? Yep, Will. All right, going to Ezekiel 21 and 27. And as soon as this is ready, I will begin. There we go. Fool me once. All right. Okay. There we go. So, as I was saying, everyone in that generational telephone game, Ezekiel 21:27. I will overturn it. Who? That person. Those vessels. And it shall be no more until he come whose right it is. Complete thought. And I will give it him. He's playing no games. So, confession. After learning the requirement of the process, I started holding to a 1-year timetable to find, air quote, my lane before putting out anything. based on a Deuteronomy verse, but it was the pricks for me. So I started writing to see if I could find, air quote, my lane. Also be able to keep up with the set requirement at my ground level of understanding. It's it's like learning a new language, really, one word at a time. I started with love, but it was almost the solar eclipse of slothfulness. I was burning out pretty often and I had no rhythm. Plus, I was trying to meditate on every lesson going out. Started to lose steam and wanting to relax more than study when I had clarity, because sometimes it gets foggy, principalities and whatnot. And speaking of that, well, I'm not gonna go to that one, but just to kind of encapsulate that whole spiel I just gave. Ecclesiastes. Got that wheel again. I know it's somebody out there trolling, like, look at that computer he got going. So, anyway, Ecclesiastes 1:17. And I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceived that this also is vexation of the spirit. And yeah, it was. But what is that madness? I probably should open this up a little sooner, because I see madness all the time. Going to the spiritual dictionary here. Let's just get a surface view of what this madness is. Just a quick little surface look. Yeah, confusion, rage, folly, delusion. That generational telephone game. Oh, my grandparents did it this way, their parents and their parents did it this way, so we're going to do it this way. That's a delusion. No verification to it. So now, when it's time to step up and actually do it to it, shake the Lord's stretched out hand, it's, come on, Dwight, gotta reach on out there and grab his hand. Reach all the way. Yeah. I wanted the wisdom, but I became very discouraged when I couldn't put together a lesson within a 3-week span alone and explain it. I quickly learned something. I learned a few things actually, but the most important thing that I learned was this. Sirach 3. Got that wheel again. Going to Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 3:21. Whoa, that is close. There we go. So, Sirach 3:21. Seek not out things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength. Yeah, I was over here trying to understand every spiritual saying and every word, basically like download the whole spiritual dictionary into my brain in one day. Yeah, delusional. Learn not to try to do too much, not to bite off way more than I can chew, just bit by bit, one word a day, or a week, month, however long it takes to really understand and see how it's flowing and its fluidity. So the thoughts were there though to try to compare myself to others, but I gave that up. However, I did keep in mind the understanding of how people see things to kind of gauge where I am. Because everyone sees everything. The same verse can be seen 1,000 different ways. And that helped me to understand I see things in my own way as well. So, James 1, gonna start at 2. Getting this wheel pretty often. Close a couple things here. Yep, still got the wheel. Okay. What's that? Uh-oh. Almost closed the wrong thing. Alright, let's let this shake back. There we go. Almost closed the Bible. Okay. James 1, starting at 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into divers temptations, strange temptations. And part of those strange temptations is to compare against another. For what? We're all uniquely made for a purpose. Verse 3. Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. 4. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. That's being sound. You know. 5. If providing any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not. Complete thought. Imagine a cup that has rocks in it, and you put it in the sink and you turn the water on. That water is going to fill up around those rocks and begin to overflow out of the cup into the drain. That's how liberally he gives. Have you seen this book? Over 80 books in one book, liberally and literally. But can upbraid, cannot be upbraiding. Let's go to the dictionary, which is going to tie to reproach. Yep, reproach, rebuke, chide, admonish. This is going to be striving with him. Actually, why didn't I just, okay. Okay, there's only one right there. So it's time to chide, which is not what we want to do with God. Tying us to contentiousness. Okay, it's just those two right there. But yeah, also time to reproach. Infamy, honor and shame, disgrace, dishonor. Back at this reproach. Disgrace, taunt, rebuke, shame, scorn, mock, denounce, causing him to suffer. We despise. It's not good. It's what I'm driving at here. It's not good. So, and this is the point I was in. Yeah, wasn't really fully trusting. I wasn't reaching my hand out to meet him. However, a couple things started to change. I had a weird dream. Then I requested to join the men's group. that turned over the slothful table with the first exercise, and I started to write again. It was engaging. I had a better sense of where I was because I didn't think I knew as much as I did, which honestly, I had the old face. I was like, oh, yeah, for those that have heard me in true old moments, yeah, surprise. But I didn't want to put out what I put out because of the level of shame I tied to it. It was the peace lesson. I was still doubting and fearful. Then, I don't know if somebody sent up a prayer or he was having none of my foolishness, but thanks. That punishment, correction that came was needed. There was no peace and harmony between Jehovah and myself, and I was the issue. Yeah, because I was running my mouth all day to others about God, but when it was time to do what was required, step up and start teaching, even though I was writing, I was a no-show. That's useless. So I had a decision to make: step up or leave. But the torment he put me through, it was like trying to sleep in a locked room without a blanket, and there was an upset swarm of bees that I could not kick away, and they did not get tired or die. These bees were on it. The pricks, the pricks, the pricks. I knew, because I had written it in one of the pieces that I wrote. Exodus 19:3. Starting at 3. And Moses, the word of truth, went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, the servants of Jehovah, he who strives with God, for ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, the people of bondage, and how I bare, endured, carried you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. 5. Now, therefore, for that reason, if, providing you obey my voice in deed, in acts, in works, and keep my covenant. Going back to keep, practice, preserve, retain, protect, guard, being at watchman, maintain, supply, offer, uphold, fulfill my covenant. Then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine. Verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, the servants of JEHOVAH. And another one that I always ran to, Amos 3:3, which 1 and 2 definitely run along with it. We're going to focus for time's sake on verse 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? Looking back at that handshake, God's hand is out. Is our hand reaching all the way out to connect? Mine wasn't. I was like 75%, maybe 80, 90% there. Still doubting, like, I don't know enough yet. I don't feel that, yeah, I can see this and that, but I don't feel that I can put a whole lesson together and run it like that. You know, still kind of comparing myself to others, like, oh, look, the deacons and elders are putting out hours, multiple hour-long lessons, and I can't even do 10 minutes right now. Yeah, just saying whatever, holding myself back. But then I saw the bees weren't stopping. I was hiding behind the Deuteronomy verse and the shame that I had on that lesson. Those three things combined together. It was Passover time. And at that point, I was starting to come out of my shell. And I had to verify that I was doing all that was expected of me within the time frame that I was holding to while kicking bees and not being able to properly rest at night. Shaking my head at myself, really. I was confused because of what was happening and the familiar things I was seeing, which one of the few things that my eyes can see. Pain. It was a lot at the Passover. And I was selfish looking at myself and thinking, this isn't my kingdom. Why am I being selfish? This is God's kingdom. And I literally have a responsibility to feed his kingdom with what he knows that it needs, this information from his voice, his words. Then I took a step back. And after being corrected about the understanding of a verse, I wondered what else did I have wrong in my thinking. I needed sharper eyes in my own. So, Proverbs 3, 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Complete thought. All thine heart, that mind, that understanding. And lean not unto thine own understanding. That's what I had done. He wasn't attacking me with these spiritual beats for nothing. He knew, hey, you ready? You get out there. You want to run your mouth, you better run it for me. How about that? That's what I heard. So the question went out. It was something like this. This journey seems really simple. Is there something I'm missing or overlooking? Jehovah used his vessel to get me right. Here is a piece of that conversation that, after meditation, helped me to start nuzzling in like a fluffed up bird in a nest on a cool morning. Yeah, if you can see that one. 2 Corinthians 11, 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, I'm going to read it and then spin it back verse for verse. Verse 1. Would to God ye could bear with me a little in my folly. Clarification. And indeed bear with me. Running it back. Would to God you could bear endure with me a little in my folly, simplicity, and indeed in acts, works, bear, bring forth, produce with me. Verse 2, for I am jealous, protective over you with godly jealousy, protection, for I have espoused you to one husband, for I have introduced you, intended, married you to one husband, Continuing, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ, that I may present you to an undefiled, separated virgin to Christ, Jehovah. But I was still holding to the flesh in my mind, saying, I'm not ready for this, I'm not ready for that. That's selfishness. That's a way of the flesh. Verse 3, but I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ Jehovah. Running it back, but I fear, dread, lest in case by any means, external or internal, and mine was internal, I was in the way. Didn't realize it. Did not realize it. It wasn't until I broke this verse down that I realized how hard I got kicked in the face, truly. Then I knew exactly where I fell in Jehovah's eyes. And I didn't like it. Because it was as a member of the evil congregation. The one talent I had to see what I saw, I wasn't even sharing it. What's the point in that? So, Matthew 25, starting at 24. Then he which had received the one talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee, that thou art your beauty and perfection, a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed, where he has not fed. Verse 25, and I was afraid. Remember I said earlier, afraid of the shame and not being ready and not knowing how to do this or that. When YouTube shows everything, there's a tutorial on how to feed a dog, I'm sure. Yeah. Continuing. And went and hid thy talent in the earth. It was just sitting in my body chilling, helping nobody. I could see this and that, but it was helping nobody. Continuing. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. Verse 26. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant. That was me, being slothful. Thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gathered where I have not strawed, where he has not fed, because he imparted the wisdom and gave us clear instructions what to do. And I wasn't reaching the goal. Saying that I'm marching toward the prize, but kind of stutter stepping and not going all the way. It was at that moment that it was confirmed. Upon breaking this down, I dropped the expectation I added because my input was the problem. I wasn't being realistic up until that point, which kept me anxious that I was not going to meet the expectation, responsibility Jehovah set. And honestly, I wasn't if I remained behind that mental block, using this or that as an excuse without ever even trying, not properly. Because what's the point in writing lessons and having them all stored up and not submitting them to anybody to be verified if they're good or not? Yeah, if it's enough to, fill any time slot. And then my pride was still in the way. I'm thinking, oh, I got to carry this burden by myself. No, it's clearly a team. But I felt and feel I'm not properly prepared for this. But really, who am I? It's not my kingdom. It's his. Less is more with Jehovah. What do I mean? And I'll run a couple more and then I'll wrap this up. So John 3:30. Once this device decides to work with me, don't crash on me. Oh, no, 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 no. So, John 3:30. And it reads, John 3:30, he must increase, but I must decrease. Next up, Ezekiel 34:30. Ay. Nope, they're not. Wait. So close. Okay. 34. Man, I might be switching back to the other one. Wait a minute now. And the reason for the hole opening my mouth and me decreasing is for this. Thus shall they know that I, the Spirit of God, their God, their guide, their Prince of Peace, am with them, and that they, even the house of Israel, those who rebel against God, striving with God, and the servants of God, are my people, said the Spirit of the Father, Lord God. Verse 31, and ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture, that green field, are men, and I am your God, said the Lord God. That was the verse that let me know, oh, I'm supposed to be teaching. Coming into this, I thought I just had to, maybe go out and talk a little bit to some people and stop doing all the brouhaha that I was doing and call it good. And that verse came down. Oh. Next up, Isaiah 55. Whoa. 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, said the Spirit of God. What I was thinking, irrelevant. He knows what I'm thinking, what I need, what my provisions are when I am or am not prepared, what I get, what I don't get. He knows, which is why he provided this whole team, this flock. It's not a sport, it's a team sport. We bear it together. Next up, 2 Timothy 1:7. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. That understanding. We understand what we understand, and it is what it is. Everybody understands what's within their wheelhouse, and all that is what creates the will, inner, outer connection. Because I understand my tidbit, the elders understand theirs, deacons, and so forth. Everybody understands what they understand from their perspective. I had to realize that and get over myself. Psalms 40. I'm close. There we go. 44. Psalms 40 and 4. Oh, I think that will. Yep, got the wheel. Until it comes up, and it's so close. There we go. Psalms 40 and 4. Blessed, wise is the man that maketh the Lord, the Spirit of God, his trust. I was trusting my own fleshly thoughts. Not ready for this, not ready for that. Continuing, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Because I was clearly lying to God, turning aside to that falsehood. Like I'm going to say, oh, I can't do this because of that. And he clearly know what I can and cannot handle. Being the creator of all things. Continuing, I'm going the wrong way. I'm looking for 1 Samuel and oh wait, that's okay, that's over here. Nah, it's so close. There we go. 1 Samuel 2. Almost done. Where am I? 1 Samuel 2 and 29. And this is what I was doing. Wherefore, kick ye at my sacrifice, and at mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation. Complete thought, running that back. Wherefore, kick, rebel, resist ye at my established covenant, and at my offering, his gift, which I have commanded in my habitation, his habitation, because we are the vessel. And I was saying, oh, thanks for the vessel, but I ain't doing all that. That's as I was living in that falsehood, saying I can't do this and that. But doing that, it just proved that I didn't trust him. And those bees that he sent my way, and I couldn't get any rest, even at the Passover, up super early. Just still getting it in, but for what if I wasn't gonna put anything out? And 14, verse 27, his response, how long shall I, Numbers 14:27, how long shall I bear, endure with this evil congregation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, those which strive with God. I was one, which they murmur against me. And you know, let's do a quick run of this murmuring. It is not good. Complain. Oh, I'm not ready for this. I can't do that. Discontented. That's what I was doing for God. And boiling these all the way down, it's a trespass and offense and sin against God. But we can run discontented real quick. Like, it's a grievance. There's the offense, causing him to suffer. Yeah. Jumping back, Numbers 14:35. I, the Spirit of God, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. Clarification, in this wilderness, because when we step outside of obedience, we're right back into the wilderness. Despite, if we've come to 99% of obedience, but refusing to do that last 1% to make it 100 of our capability, boom, in the wilderness. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. Because, yeah, running wilderness real quick, like 14 hits. Tying us to Horeb, a desolate region. Back in the open public, outside. Disorder, barren. There we go. Without, forsaken. Just like that. And yeah, this ran a little longer than I thought it was going to. But the point is, I had to get over it. And let's make a little quick note here. Okay. I had to get over it. And I'll end it with this. Let's take it to this one. Let's go to Sirach. Because it's... What? Oh, that's Ecclesiastes. Trying to go to Ecclesiasticus. Nah, I passed it. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Sirach. 24. That's 25. Wait, both of them say 24. Oh, there it is, Will. So close. So close. Uno momento. There we go. Now what chapter is this? Okay. So, yeah. Sirach 24 and 34. And it reads, Behold, that I have not labored for myself only, but for all them that seek wisdom. That's what I had to keep in mind. Not everybody has the same walk. Not everybody has the same experiences. And this experience in this kingdom is meant to be spread abroad so that everybody can be on the same level and understand what to be aware of. And this is my piece sharing. Be aware of this mental block that will put us outside in the wilderness with God. Outside of that wheelhouse so fast. And as we've already seen, he will overturn. I had to look down at that spatula under my feet, ready to be flipped like a pancake. We are but ants in his hands that can be dumped out at any moment. And this is the warning. This is the warning as a watchman to those that are going through. If you're struggling, I get it. But flat out rebellion, Don't do it like I was doing it, holding on to this or that and thinking I got time. No, this is the warning. After this, here's what he has to say. Revelations 22:11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. Verse 12. And behold, remember, I come quickly, complete thought, and my reward is with me, to give every man, male or female, according as his work shall be. So, there's that. Producing lessons to be submitted and checked, and hearing and adhering, and hearing these call outs for months since coming into the truth. Had I continued to ignore it, despite knowing that I had enough to get it rolling, even if just running my mouth and doing like I'm doing now, pairing verses with it until the craft is sharpened up, would have proved that I did not trust or love God, proving I had a stony heart against God, which is adultery. Yeah. That unfaithfulness. I didn't want to be that anymore. Please learn from my folly and be brave, be encouraged. That was the purpose of this whole thing. Because I love you all, but I can't love you so much that I disobey God. We all have to love our own soul, get out of our own way, support one another. But we must be willing. Only God can love our soul more than we can. But if we don't do our part and take hold of his stretched out hand, we know our expected end. The lake of fire. So, with a question mark, Shalom? Is that what we have? Shalom? But, Shalom.